let's settle down, let's settle in, put our seatbelts on, and let's get our fork and knife out and get ready to get fed this morning from none other than regional vice president from Northern California. I just love this woman's talk. Sometimes she drops the top and she's driving and talking to us, but she makes so much sense. She was up at Lake Tahoe. So without further ado, everybody, let's give a warm welcome to none other than Regional Vice President, Miss Keri Roeder.
Good morning. I love spending my Monday mornings with all of you. This is so amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's like you're just full of sunshine and ray and love and joy and success and all of that. So to be able to spend my Monday mornings with you, Mr. Thomas, and all of these beautiful smiling faces. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Right. So, and congratulations, Joseph, for partnering and getting qualified. You're going to get your first bonus. That's awesome. That creates a success story. That's everybody. That's the example to follow. Get somebody started, get them qualified. It puts money in their pocket, but more importantly, it creates a story of success that people can be armored with as they go through the challenges of building this incredible ACN opportunity. So good morning and congratulations to the newest people. I'm Keri Roeder, and as Mr. Thomas said, I am zooming in from Northern California. And hello to all of our people that I absolutely love. I love spending these Monday mornings with you. It's just such an honor and a privilege. So for those of you who are new, sounds like maybe you've already interacted with Mr. Al Thomas, but I want to give you a different perspective. I, like you, almost, 14 and a half years ago, I received a phone call, an invitation to take a look at this business model. I was a little ornery. I said no to the phone call, but 3 weeks later, when I saw the business concept, I was in. I started going to trainings, and I went to an elite leadership training that Mr. Al Thomas was being flown in for, and he was the keynote trainer. You had to work hard to get to this training. And I did that because I understood that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I wanted to be successful in ACN. What I didn't know until after I was trained by him is that he actually has 3 billionaire with a B mentors and has helped an unknown amount of people find success, not just in ACN, but in life, in traditional business, and in other ways. And I am a perfect example of that. The support, the training, the guidance, the love, the humor that Mr. Al Thomas provides, it's beyond measure. So those of you who are new, I don't want you to take him for granted. I don't want you to take for granted his offer to be helpful. I want you to take advantage of him. Take advantage of that man, do what he says in the time frame he says to do it in, and you can find the level of success that it is you're looking for here part-time around everything we have going on. So thank you, Mr. Thomas, for allowing me to have my Mondays in November. This is always so fun. So, okay. So last week we talked about, so for the newest people, I'll kind of summarize what we talked about last week. I like to do a lot of mindset training. And last week we talked about being strong, right? You guys remember the song, right? Being unstoppable. Okay. Right. Wearing your armor and all of that. And then we started to talk about false beliefs. And so what I want to talk with you all about today, and remember, when I can see in my own little square here, okay, so I'm also talking to me. When I talk to you, I'm talking to us, okay? I want all of us to take some time, not now, but take some time really soon before you forget to start to think about your negative thinking. What negative thinking goes through your head? Okay, and we all have it. Okay, now some of us are more capable. My cat wants to participate. Some of us are more capable than others, like Mr. Thomas, of having those moments be fleeting. Okay, but I want you to take some time and think about your negative thinking, and even write it down. And when you write it down and you can see it written out, then there's going to be something that potentially could shift for you in your thinking and in your emotions. Because what I want you to do after you write down your negative thinking is I want you to write below that the exact opposite. Okay, write down the exact opposite of your negative thinking, because that is the truth. And then I want you to cross off your original statement of your negative thinking. So you're going to write down a line or two of your negative thinking. And then you're going to read it, and you're going to right below that write the exact opposite. It's going to be positive thinking. Okay. And then I want you to cross off your negative thinking. And every time you start to recognize, because you need to start to recognize it in order to change it. Okay. So every time you start to recognize your negative thinking, I want you to memorize your positive thinking line. Okay. And instead, I want you to say that. And I want you to say that 3 times in a row. And if you have a mirror, even better. Okay. And what I want you to do is start saying that positive line, right? Every single day, all day long. Every time you moment of pause, say your positive thinking line. Okay. In the mirror, positive thinking line. Even if you're brushing your teeth and you have to say it in your head, positive thinking line. Okay. That's going to help you shift away from believing those false beliefs, because they're false. They're not true. Somewhere along the way, some jerk said it or said something that made you feel that way. Right. But guess what? We've talked about this before. I drive my 20-year-old daughter crazy because the only thing you can control is this, right? This is the only thing you control. You cannot control what other people say. You cannot control what other people do. Goodness, that would be great if we could, right? The only thing we can do is control this. So when somebody says a false belief about us, or we hear somebody saying a false belief about us, remember your positive thinking line. Because in ACN, we're going to get, if you haven't already been on the emotional roller coaster, you're going to go on it. No doubt. And Thanksgiving is coming up, right? So you're going to be with family and friends, and odds are somebody's going to ask you, how's that thing going, right? And they're going to do it in a negative connotation. I want you to be prepared for that. I want you to be prepared for your positive line of thinking, because all they're doing is trying to take you down. Remember, I talked about the crab cage, right? They're trying to, you're climbing out, right? Because you recognize there's no more food here. We need to find food outside of this cage, success outside of what we're doing, right? But they want to bring you down. Misery loves company. Now, one of the sayings I heard when I very first got started is, if the majority of the crowd is going this way, you want to be the girl or guy going this way. You want to go the opposite direction of the crowd. The masses settle. The masses are unhappy to different levels. The masses are not who we are. We are the elite. We are the exception. We're not better than them. I'm not saying that. I am not saying we're better than them. What I'm saying is we're choosing to do life differently than them. We're choosing to do life differently in the control of our mind, in the control of our finances, and the control of our time. Okay. Now, when we recognize our negative thinking, it's going to help you recognize when other people say things that are negative. It's fascinating. And then what you will find in time, when you start to develop your own strength, like Mr. Al Thomas, what you're going to find is that people no longer say it to your face because they know not to. Everybody in my world knows not to say it to my face, because you know what? I don't give a bleep about, see, I bleeped that time. I was much better. Okay. I don't give a bleep about your negative opinion of me. That's your opinion. If you're going to be willing to pay for my kiddo to go to college and for us to live and eat and shop and all that, fine. I might maybe consider your negative opinion, but until you're willing to do that, I'm not buying into it. And here's the other thing too. What you'll find is you're going to attract positive thinking people. See, ACN, negative people totally get started all the time. Negative, cynical, all those people always get started, but they always weed themselves out because they cannot handle our positive environment. So I'm going to share my screen again. And so I believe we talked about this. ACN is a personal development program with a compensation plan attached. Our president, Mr. Provenzano, is the one that said this. Now, I want to talk to you. Did I go over this part yet, Mr. Thomas? The dirty water and all that? Okay, good. So it's personal development. Okay, so with personal developments, these are some of my favorites that I read. Now, so Go Pro, The Compound Effect, Who Moved My Cheese? Mr. Provenzano said to read that one. Is a great one. And it's quick. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Think and Grow Rich, obviously, is a staple. And then one of my newest favorites is Outwitting the Devil. So, how to read for personal development purposes. Okay, because reading is one thing, but how we read in order to really adopt the information in which we are reading. There's a quote in ACN, read one good book 10 times instead of 10 books one time. Does anybody know who said that? Mr. Baker, you should know who said that. Mr. Larry Raskin, our VP of Personal Development, you guys, like leadership and all that. So when we find a good book, you want to read it until you know the information. You can quote the information. If you listen to Mr. Thomas, he's constantly quoting things. And it's not because he read it once. I mean, he is brilliant, but it's not because he read it one time and remembered it, right? It's because he understood the value of what he was reading and learning, and he play, rewind, or read until he could then own it and regurgitate it at the right time. Okay, so I have some other quotes here that I want to share with us today. So there is a difference between interest and commitment. When you are interested in doing something, you do it only when it's convenient. How many of us know people that do their ACN business this way, right? Absolutely. Now, when you're committed to something, you accept no excuses. So we always ask, you know, in the trainings and the mindset, we say, make a commitment, right? Commitment is doing what you said you would do long after the feeling you have set it in has left you. Commitment is doing the thing you said you would do long after the feeling you set it in has left you. When we decided to build ACN, whether it was Joseph this weekend, me 14 and a half years ago, whatever date and time that you decided to do ACN, you made a decision, you made a commitment, or maybe you made a decision. Now you need to make the commitment. And some of you know, Mr. Provenzano years ago gave me a little baggie of fairy dust to get your business started over today, right? So if you've been in for a while and you made the decision, but maybe you haven't made the commitment, here's your little sprinkle fairy dust, okay? Today, you get to decide to make that commitment. Nobody else can make that decision for you. Nobody else can, because remember, you're the one in control of here. Okay, Ken Blanchard, the 1 Minute Manager, said that. By the way, I have all these quotes because these are the books that I read, and as I read them, I highlight, I take my pen and I circle and I star, and then really good quotes. What I do actually is I have a whole stack of index cards, and I write down that quote and who said it and the book it was in, so that way I can reference it to other people. Okay, anyway, here we go. Most of the time, we're happy until we start, anybody know? Comparing. Don't compare, you guys. Don't look left, don't look right. So some of you have heard the story on the RVP trip, so this is crazy. On the RVP trip, we went to Cayman Islands, and I got there, and Mr. Thomas was like, Mrs. Roeder, can I have a picture with you? And I was like, wait, what? The top producing senior vice president wants a picture with me. Are you kidding? I'm supposed to be asking you. But that's how amazing and humble and servant he is. But on that trip, my now ex-husband was having coffee with the president of the company because it was his birthday. And so they went off to have a cup of coffee. So I went shopping, shocker. And as I was shopping, I happened to run into co-founder, Mr. Tony Kupitz. And we started talking. I don't know what I said, but it obviously wasn't positive, because he looked at me, goes, Keri, he goes, stop comparing. Oh, because I was like, yeah, I didn't get here as fast as other people. Our team did it in 3.5 years, you guys. But I was like, I didn't do it as fast as other people. And he's like, stop comparing. And so he really stood there and kind of lectured me about, this is my journey. I get to do this the way that I'm designed to do this and inspire the people that I need to inspire. And then he said, there's a couple out there in the ocean right now in their 80s. And I was like, oh, okay, I got this, right? So that change in mindset to stop comparing. We want to celebrate people who are having fast success. But we also don't want to compare our journeys to it, because your journey is designed to inspire the right people. And anytime I have the privilege of having a conversation with one of you, and I've said that to you, right? Where you're not going as fast as you want to go, or you're not where you want to be, in the time frame you wanted to be in. Neither am I. I thought I'd be the top producing senior vice president by now, right? Life happens, whatever, who cares? It's your journey. You get to live that journey. Don't compare. Don't look left, don't look right, look straight ahead, follow Mr. Thomas's lead. Joel Osteen, Next Level of Thinking. I absolutely love Joel Osteen's books. The way he articulates things is amazing. Okay, most of us know this one. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs tons. I know you know who said this, Mr. Baker. Turn your camera on. Mr. Jim Rohn. Okay, Jim Rohn, for those of you who are new, get his audios. He's all over YouTube. Play, rewind, play, rewind, play, rewind. Brilliant teaching of how to think and what to do, but how to think in the way of building direct sales. Okay, so Jim Rohn. All right, here we go. The greatest achievers and leaders remain confident regardless of the circumstances. Would you agree that Mr. Al Thomas is always confident, right? And if he has a slight slip where he's not confident, he's certainly not going to show us, okay? He's always showing confidence. And so no matter the circumstances, remain confident. Even if you're not confident or as confident as you should be confident, and then it will happen for you, okay? Because that's, again, part of the false beliefs, the negative thinking that you are now changing. So check out who said this. John Maxwell, developing leaders around you. Okay, a positive attitude is one of the most valuable assets a person can have in life. We are in the people business. If you are Eeyore, I want you to bounce on your butt tail thing like a Tigger, okay? And even if, so here's the thing, here's what's weird. If you're Eeyore, or maybe you're like an urchin where you're like super calm and you don't wake up like Mr. Thomas and I do. Good morning. I literally, before I get out of bed, I say to the dog and cat, right? And I know that's how, well, I don't know, I'm guessing that's how Mr. Thomas wakes up, but a positive attitude is one of the most valuable things we have in attracting who it is we're looking to attract. So if you're Eeyore, I need you to start to become Tigger, because when you start to become Tigger, the people who know you as Eeyore, they're going to go, whoa, what's changed in you, Sam? What's changing you, Sarah? Like, what's going on in your life that you are having positive statements? Door is now open, right? I'm a part of an incredible business. I'd love for you to meet the leadership. You can meet them too, and da-da-da-da-da, wherever your invitation is, okay? John Maxwell again. Okay, couple more. A great leader doesn't treat problems as special. He treats them as normal. Mr. Provenzano says, we are in a position to solve problems. We are problem solvers. You guys, again, that emotional roller coaster. Sometimes the service isn't available in that area. Oh, right? Sometimes the order is placed and something goes wrong, right? An IBO gets started and then they immediately quit. What does Mr. Tony Kupich say to all of those scenarios? Great, right? It doesn't matter. Problems are normal. Check out who said this. Mr. Al Davis, right? Now, let me be clear. I am a Niner fan because I grew up, obviously I'm a Niner fan, but I am a Howie Long fan. So for those of you who do not know who Howie Long is, he is an Oakland Raider. Look him up. Okay. Okay. It's fun doing this, right? It's important to know not only who you are, but who you are not. If you're trying to be something you're not, you'll be frustrated. Okay, does anybody know who said this? Anybody? Joel Osteen. Okay. Refuse to let your history control your destiny. That's in the past. We're looking to the future, you guys. We're absolutely looking to the future. This is your destiny. You made the right decision to get started in ACN. This is your destiny. Kevin Boyd, Prepare Yourself to Be Blessed. I believe Mr. L. Thomas is the one that had me read that book, right? Yep, absolutely. Love that book. Many times, adversity and struggle and trials and tribulations are proof that you're on the right path. Again, Kevin Boyd. So here's what's funny is when people call me, right? And they're like, oh, Mrs. Roeder, something went wrong. I get so excited, like, and people are like, wow, you're crazy. Yeah, a little bit. But here's why I'm excited that something went wrong. That means you're doing something in your business, right? You're doing something in your business. You're moving your business. What does he say? Forward, forward, right? When you're doing something in your business and something goes wrong, that means you're building your business, which means most of the time things are going to go right. But when Mr. Thomas and Mr. Baker and Miss Roxanne Carleo, when we don't get phone calls, when it's crickets, we know nothing's happening in your business because you're not going through the emotional roller coaster and the trials and tribulations. Okay, last one. Personal development equips you to manage yourself in the face of adversity. Okay, does anybody know who said this one? Me. Those of you who are in Tahoe knew that one. Anyway, personal development. This is how we are able to develop the right mindset. This is how we are able to develop that armor, right? So that we can knock it out of the park, so that we can be the Porsche with no brakes, so that we can be unstoppable. But consistent personal development over a long enough period of time is where you wash out the dirt, right? From that cup, the dirty cup, you put it on the faucet, it becomes clean. That's personal development, daily personal development. I can't remember if I told you all on this call. I know I said it in Tahoe, but years ago, over a decade ago, we were at a training and Mr. Provenzano, Mr. P, said to us, he said, basically, the news is full of, right? That wasn't his word, that's my word. So I'm not quoting him perfectly, but the concept is that the news is full of bad stuff. He said, so stop watching the news first thing when you wake up, last thing before you go to bed, because all you're doing is putting more of that dirty water, that dirty thinking into your cup. You guys, when you're doing the personal development, you're doing the clean water to get the dirty junks out. Why add it back in by watching the news? Somebody's going to tell you what's happening. Okay. You can look up the weather on an app. Okay. It's funny. The Monday before the last Elevate, when we didn't get to go, I was flying home from seeing my daughter for the weekend, and I landed, and one of my business partners said, "Are we canceling our flights?" I was like, "Why are we canceling our flights?" No, right? And then she's like, "There's a hurricane." I was like, "There's a hurricane?" Right? I have no idea, you guys. I don't watch the news. Do I feel bad for what's happening in Florida and for all those people? Absolutely. Will I donate and do what I can? Absolutely. But does the hurricane in Florida affect my daily life out here in California? No, it does not. And so somebody told me, right? Somebody told me what was going on. Now, certain things I do want to know, so I will make a concerted effort to look it up. But as far as watching the daily news, I don't need to know all the doom and gloom and the violence and all of that ugly that's happening in my local and in my United States and in my world. Somebody's going to give me the cliff notes. It's going to be that negative person that's going 90% this way. Okay, because this is what they want to talk about all day. They want to talk about ugly and misery and all that. We go this way, right? Doesn't make us better than them. It makes us different. It makes us want to choose to be positive under all circumstances, like our mentor, Senior Vice President, Mr. Al Thomas. So that's where I'm going to leave off for today. I do have more to give next week, so I'm pretty excited about it. But as I said, I'm always so privileged to be a part of these calls and to be a part of everything that we have going on and to be alongside you, Mr. Thomas, because you really are the exemplary example of how to be successful in ACN, in life, in love, and in all of that, and in being the amazing friend that we all want to be. So I appreciate you. I love you. I respect you. And I'm going to turn this call back to you.